Hello and welcome to Elite Visual Pre-Plans. My name is Brad Eckhart. I'm a sales engineer with ImageTrend, and today we're going to go over some of the features of our Elite Visual Pre-Plans platform. One of the first things we always ask when we're looking at pre-plans is what problem are we solving for, right? So, common scenario, the crew gets dispatched to a multi-story commercial fire at 2 in the morning. Either the pre-plan data is buried into maybe a GIS layer, or even some cases we're still having them in binders, right? So the pre-plan is in the binder. It's from 2024, and so it's really outdated. Hydrants are wrong, hazmat wing is wrong, Knox box code is outdated, or maybe the whole entire Knox box hasn't been maintained because we're not maintaining our pre-plans. And really, we're operating blind, and this is a massive safety risk, right? So, how are your crews responding today, right? So, too many apps, too many user profiles, too many passwords. Really, we have multiple disconnected solutions that maybe even aren't tied to CAD. So, we're really not getting that information. We really need this information critically fast and critically up to date. There's a lot of things going on in that front right seat. Seatbelt alarms maybe going off from folks in the back, watching for cross traffic, answering radio traffic, coordinating incoming units. We just really don't have the time to be typing in an address in our brief window in our response time, right? So we need this information quickly, and we need it accurately, and we need it updated. So what are we doing? We're creating pre-plans manually. That can be challenging. Maybe we've got Visio, we've got binders, maybe we've got a share drive that we're pulling pre-plans out of. We've really seen a wide gambit of possibilities, right? Maybe there's another software package out there that has pre-plan information, maybe in a GIS layer, but it takes multiple layers of authentication to get to it because there's other sensitive data there. So we really need a way to share that information. With all these different capabilities, sharing this information can be, well, impossible, if not very difficult, but not impossible, right? As we're saying here. And it really comes into play if you're dealing with ISO. Maybe you're on the edge of another ISO class. So it really comes back in an administrative way to get us to. So with that being said, we're going to dive into a live demo here and kind of cover a couple things about it. So first, we'll talk about what do you see operationally when you get a call. Very simple. What we have is we have a CAD feed. So you're going to get a feed directly from dispatch. Some of you may already have some CAD feeds, some notifications coming out with some competing products that are going to tell you about, where the address is, or maybe turn-by-turn directions to it. We can do all those things within Visual Pre-Plans as well. In this particular case, we're looking at Fashion Point Mall, for example, here. So when I click on this dispatch feed over here, I've got multiple areas and multiple units here. This is a demo site, so I want to be able to show you multiple ways that you're going to see that information, but your crew is going to be filtered. They're only going to see this. So in the front right seat, Visual Pre-Plans is going to be up and running and ready for them with a read-only login. This makes it a lot easier to get to the information and cuts down on the time it takes to get to that information. So if we click on this one, for example, as a head injury, and there is not a pre-plan, you'll see right away, anything that's blue has a pre-plan. But let's come down here to this incident right here. If I click on it, it's still going to take me right to where that incident is, even though there is no pre-plan for it. I know where my hydrants are. I know where the building is. Maybe it's an EMS call. I can kind of see what the layout looks like. So I can still use this even though I don't have a pre-plan, right? And even over here, we've got like a highlighted building, and that indicates a pre-plan. But let's jump back over to a location that has a pre-plan. So I just tap on it. We'll see we got a high hazard indicator here. Once I click on this pre-plan, it's all in one place. It's ready for me. I've got immediately a square footage that's been laid out. I know what my fire flows are over here on the right-hand side based on the Iowa formula. So I've got my fire flows worked out. And then down here, I've got the key information I need. I also have information readily available on my map. So as we're looking at this and we're saying, okay, here's the information we have. Here are my hydrants that I have nearby. You'll see they're color coded with NFPA colors. And so just as a refresher, we're talking about yellow, blue, red, and green. So your green's going to be 1,000 gallons per minute or better. Your blue, well, actually, these are right there. Down here's your hydrant legends. I apologize. So 0 to 500 is your red, 500 to 1,000 is yellow, and then of course your 1,000 to 1,500 is green, and then 1,500 above is going to be your blue hydrant. Yellow is going to be unknown. So we can highlight that. We can also highlight dry hydrants as well in here. But let's see what the crew is going to see when they come into this call. It's already pulled up for you. It's already shown there. It's outlined. The crew can see information over here, including roof type, any kind of construction type, that kind of thing, occupancy, callback numbers, contact numbers for folks, information like that. And then over here, we've got the operational data. So as we pull this up, we're going to see a map. We can see here, for example, maybe it's a nighttime response. So we have an aerial that no aerial zone. And then we've even re-highlighted our hydrants over here as well. A really straightforward way to annotate the map, which we'll show you momentarily. I've even got a helicopter zone over here, in case I have an evac that I have to call in. I can do that as well. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta sides are all clearly marked. And then the nice thing is I've already got drawings in here as well. In years past, we were drawing things with pencils, or we were maybe using our art skills, if you will, to get information documented. But now when we're looking at it, we're getting a lot of information readily made available to us digitally from the buildings themselves or from plans departments, those kind of things. It's really cutting down on the amount of work that we can also take this, ingest it, and then also add symbols to it really quickly. So as we look through this is the great side of the view of the Bravo side. I see stairwells. I wouldn't expect stairwells there, but there are some based on the layout of the building. So that's good information to know. Something as simple as this. Let's say we got a call. Dispatch doesn't know what suite we're going to. All they know is Berkshire Hathaway. So right here, we can see Berkshire Hathaway is in suite 400 on the 4th floor. Just something as simple as an occupancy, because it changes so much in office buildings. When we do our pre-plan, we update it and get that information current. And when we capture information in visual pre-plans, it is immediately updated across the entire organization. We'll talk more about that in a moment. Here's some stairs that are obvious, Knox box on my Alpha side. So essentially, I can kind of scroll through, get an Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta side. I see where my standpipe is. I can see where my main electrical shutoff is. As I continue to scroll through, I get the Delta side. I can see where I can set up aerial operations. But the nice thing about this is I do have a concern back here on my aerial operations, as you recall, it stood out very clearly, is I can't set up on that Alpha Bravo side because maybe I have some wires or something in that area. So I'm going to have to go Charlie Delta side. I now know that's going to have a very large impact as I look around this building and I start seeing where can I access this balcony. Maybe we've got to set up an aerial operation there. Maybe we're going to make use our aerial platform to make entry or something up there too, right? So I know I'm not going to do it on the Alpha Bravo side. I'm going to have to do a Charlie Delta side. Fortunately, it looks like that's a possibility for me. So with that being said, we're moving around and kind of saying we're not juggling like right now we have like juggling 4 to 6 apps. Each has different logins. Onboarding can take weeks. Offboarding is a security chase, and the data kind of lives in silos. What we have here is we have information that's all in the same place. One login. So from an admin perspective, for example, I look over here and on my location information, you'll see I've got my visual pre-plans fields clearly marked here. Hyperlinks, this is our location module. This is where you're going to manage your locations and occupants, your inspection team, your prevention team. They're going to manage things here. And if they're editing a pre-plan, they can just click right here with a single login. It's going to take us right into pre-plans. Not another password to memorize. I never left the platform. Permissions are inherited. And I know that login is there. So we've got one platform, one login, one profile. IT manages access in one place. Onboarding time is cut in half, and we have zero password fatigue. So we kind of already covered this a little bit, but I want to go back and kind of stress this again when we're looking at the dispatching side. When I'm looking at this, the crew hears an address on a radio, flips through a binder, like this is the worst case scenario, right? Disconnected PDFs or can't connect like we talked about already. Half the time we can't find it. The crews get frustrated or the information's outdated. and then the officers are making a size up on incomplete information. Again, to recap kind of what we were talking about here, CAD sends the information to the file. I click on the call. It takes me right into that call. It's automatically highlighted here. And as I'm looking through this, I've got all my information, and I can list whatever I want down here. We already looked through the Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta sides down here. I could also put things in here like maybe my standard operating procedures, my response for that area, maybe my response guidebook information could be added down here. Really, it's whatever you want to put down here to help that crew get a size up. So I'm getting floor plans, hydrants, gallons per minute, utilities, Knox box, contacts, all in one place, all easily digestible. The best part, it's live, current, and verified. So now in this case, on this outcome, when we're using visual pre-plans, the pre-plan finds the crew, not the other way around, right? So it's presented to me right out in front of me. The officer has a confident 360, as we saw earlier, while I'm en route or shortly upon arrival, depending on how chaotic the response is. There's no binders, no guessing, no third-party logins, no fourth-party logins. In this case, we're already logged in, up and running. CAD is pushing to the visual pre-plans automatically as part of the implementation and setup. Kind of the same thing too. Let's talk about another thing when we're building a pre-plan. It's not a huge undertaking. It can be done on anything as small as a cell phone all the way up to the full-size computer, of course. But let's say like a new brewery opens, for example, and the officer knows there's a pre-plan. They know that they need to pre-plan it, I should say. It's in their territory. It's something that's popping up. So if someone creates a new pre-plan, what does that look like? So really, it's as simple as grabbing the information from the screen in some cases, or from the camera on the device, right? So in this case, let's say we're going to build take this image and we're going to build a pre-plan off this image right away. I can capture the information here, take a picture directly from the device. Once that information is available to me, I'm going to upload that information from my computer. I've got my download area right here. I'm going to go ahead and pull up that image, open it up, add it. This image is now live, so it's auto saving as it's uploading. So this is available to all the crews. So now I come over here and I click on this image. That's the image I was looking for. It even captures some of the information that I had there. Again, this could be the Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta side from the lens of the camera. I'm just showing you the overview for simplicity's sake for right now. I'm going to click on the edit tool. I'm going to take a look at this. I'm going to go, okay, I need to grab some symbols. So I'm going to put an Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta. I'm going to also grab an annunciator panel and drop it on here. I'm going to grab a Knox box and drop it on here. And I'm going to take that aerial. I've got some wiring or something like that. So I'm going to put an aerial. That's a custom logo, by the way, as is the Knox box logo. So you're not stuck with the symbols we have. You can put whatever symbols you have. And remember, we decided that we were going to add a hospital or a helicopter hospital unit landing zone there if we wanted to. So now as we look at this, we can say, okay, what are we doing? We're going to move some things around. Move this annunciator panel around, resize it, move this Knox box around, resize it. I can kind of make this as big or small as I want to. I would probably use a more zoomed in photo than this one, but moving things around is very easy. I'm making things symmetrical, making it clean for a crew to see. And so really what I've just done is I've created a pre-plan. I hit save, and now that information is going to go live. And that information is now available, and it's right here. So that's addressing some of those issues that we had earlier on, and those kind of items as well. So what happens if we have an automatic aid mutual aids, right? So your pre-plans are great. Mutual aid partner has nothing. They responded to your second alarm with zero building intel, no FDC, no truss roof awareness, no chemical storage info. Sharing via email is kind of outdated. PDFs are outdated. folder files are outdated. So what does this look like, right? So we can share pre-plans with one another, and a mutual aid company can see what we see. So in this case, we've got two agencies that are both on visual pre-plans. And you'll see here, our pre-plans are in blue. As we come over here across jurisdiction, their pre-plans are green. So I can control access to it. In this case, it's read-only. So this is the same CAD feed, same process. Nothing has to be done by the operations crew. This is all done in advance by sharing with an agency. And as I look at this, now I've got my pre-plan information, even though I'm coming into an area that I'm not maybe not familiar with. It's not my normal district. It's an automatic aid or mutual aid scenario. And now I've got access to their pre-plans as well. So same look and feel. The only difference is I'm not really editing it on my side. This is a read-only access that I'm giving, and I can also control what information is being shared in some capacities as well. So when we're looking at pre-plans, those are kind of some of the negative possibilities and the positive outcomes we can get by using visual pre-plans. One of the other things I like to point out is this information you see over on this right-hand side. This is all coming from your locations, occupants, and inspections information. So we're pushing more and more information out over that way as well. What we're doing is minimizing as much as possible the duplicate entry of information that we tend to have with pre-plans. So a lot of times we have our prevention bureau working diligently daily, doing inspections, doing locations data, documenting new buildings. And then operations is duplicating that. They have a different pre-plan process. They're using a PDF, they're using a shared folder, or they're using a GIS layer that's not talking back and forth with our inspections bureau. The inspections bureau has already done this. They've already documented a lot of these things on the right-hand side. So when I go in as a company level pre-plan, I'm working through my company level pre-plan and worried about the operational concerns. I'm spending time where it matters. I'm spending time with the customer. I'm spending time with the building. I'm looking at its risk assessments. I'm looking at what I'm going to need operationally. And I'm not as worried about some of the other information here. Also, some of this information in my department anyway could be a little challenging because we have some folks that are, we'd have folks that are authorized to put certain information in, such as building type, so that we're getting that most accurate information. So with all this being said, we're one platform, cross communication of information, minimizing duplicate documentation as much as possible. We've got a CAD feed to get the information out there. So we've got all these things going on, but one of the concerns that we have is that we may have, disconnected information or delayed information. And then because we're not keeping up on how often we're doing our pre-plans. So how do we manage that, right? Well, let's go to our dashboard over here. In our situation here, we have this, let me zoom in a little bit, that's kind of small. So over here, we have information, and what we're doing is we're sorting this information by person, right, assigned to. This could be a unit as well. This could be a station. This could be a zone, a district. However you want to do that, you can bust up those assignments. In this case, we've got it by a person. But if you do it in another capacity, we're easily able to pivot and do that. What I'm looking at here is I'm looking at just the pre-plans for this individual, and I'm looking at just those pre-plans that have been updated. We have 3 statuses here to keep you ISO compliant. We have updated, urgent, and due. Updated means that pre-plan has been touched or reviewed within the last 9 months. Urgent means that it's past due, right? We're past that point. Like we want to find those as quickly as we can. And due means we're within 90 days of its due date. And that's going to be based on a revolving 1-year cycle. And that's to keep you compliant with ISO. So let's go ahead and change that to, what do we have that's urgent? Or so you see we've got a lot more of these. So we can really kind of back clean up on these and see what we've got to get done. And this is going to come into play pretty heavily, that we've got these percentages here as well. So you'll see here, this pre-plan is 30% complete. So as we zoom in on this a little bit, we've got all this information that we need to have that is mandated, like occupancy type, construction type, roof construction, roof material, sprinkler, standby, fire alarm, all this information. We've also want to get the location address. We get percentage for that. We get percentage for building footprint, building data, hydrants that are linked. We got those linked. We know that's good. Speaking on hydrants, we can pull that from a GIS layer if you want us to. They can be manually updated. So we've got a lot of options going on over there. Image annotations are a big part of this one right now. So that's really what we're looking for. So we need our image annotations, and we need to answer these questions in order to get this to 100%. This becomes very important to know what we need to do, to know what's been done, and know what needs to be done still. So however you're going to assign your pre-plans, whether it's quarterly, monthly, annually, you can put a due date on it and then keep track of the progress for that. And you can customize these columns as well. The reason this is so important is that when ISO shows up, or we want to get our information, I can simply go up here to my download, pre-plan report, ISO report, hydrant report, and CSVs, hand that to the inspection team, and they're going to have that information. If your hydrant information is up to date over here because you pulled it from GIS, that might suffice for what you're looking for on your compliance for your hydraulics. So when you're really looking across the board and looking at your pre-plans, we have multiple steps here. So, probably the biggest enemy of getting a pre-plan software is doing nothing, right? It's the cost versus act now. It's the overwhelming sense of what a pre-plan process looks like under other systems and archaic systems, and maybe in some cases, in the like myself, in the early parts of my 31-year career, I worked on a pre-plan and then just disappeared, or the pre-plan program changed, or things altered, or whatever. And so in the end, we ended up with outdated binders. We ended up with, in some cases, do nothing and no pre-plan. So you could stay with paper binders, stay with disconnected apps, stay with manual processes, giving you outdated intel, poor ISO scores, higher community premiums for your insurance, higher risk for those that live in your community. And every day you wait is another day that crews are walking in blind. So the goal and the key takeaway here is to look at what this information is doing for us. And really kind of looking at how are we doing these things? What is our goal here? We need to kind of go back and say, kind of covered all these things and said, this is what's our positive outcomes or negative outcomes. This is what we're trying to overcome. Our goal is to have connected data, informed crews, current pre-plans, audit-ready ISO docs, one platform, one login, one source of truth, safe community, and more professional department. It's not a pie in the sky dream. It's very capable. Your CAD data is going to flow into visual pre-plans. Your location document inspection data is going to flow into visual pre-plans. You're going to have the same user profile and password, same platform. And as you saw, it's relatively easy to update. Like doesn't require a bunch of technical knowledge to update and manage those pre-plans, either from a staff member, somebody on the road, a company level, all the way up into your managed pre-plans. So it's an instant update for all users, and it really can assist with your ISO program. I appreciate your time today. We're here if you have any questions. Reach out to your sales rep. We're more than happy to do a deeper dive demo if that's what you would like to see, or if you have specific questions, and we're happy to answer them. We appreciate your time today and look forward to meeting with you in the future. Thank you.